Hey, welcome to the live stream. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, I'm going to put chapters down below so you can skip to the questions that you're interested in. But before we get started and while we wait for some people to hop on, wanted to tell you a little story about last night. So we decided to start a fire. Like we have a fireplace here. We have one of those bricks, like those pre-made bricks for a fire, and you light it on fire, whatever, right? So later we wanted to put it out, and then we're like spraying water on it like crazy and dumping water on it, and we cannot put this fire out. And then proceeded like a few hours of having a house filled with smoke. So that was fun. We have all these air filters running and the doors open, the windows open. I still smell a little bit of smoke from that. But anyway, I'll jump over to the comments here. Young Dorito says, "Hi, Laska." She wanted to be on camera. She's been spending a lot of time next to us today for some reason. But yeah, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the chat box and we'll be answering a bunch of questions tonight. Oscar, thanks for joining us. Mark says, hello from Nova Scotia. Hi. Gio says, I'd like to go visit Mexico City in December and visit the pyramids. Have you seen the pyramids there?
Yeah.
Teotihuacan.
Hi, scared me, but yeah.
Oh, you went up it. Okay. When I went, it was on a weekend and a holiday, so it was super busy. So I didn't go up the big pyramid because there was a line there, and we asked the people at the front of the line how long they had been waiting, and they said an hour. So like, nope, it's a hot day, not going up there. But apparently that's really out of the ordinary. It's normally not that busy. What's the safest place in Mexico? People say Merida, Yucatan. I don't know if it actually is the safest city. It might be. It's often on the list of like the safest cities in the world, but I've dug into how they compile that list, and they only include like something like 300 cities in the entire world that they even do any research on. So it leaves out almost every other city in Mexico from their study. When my house is filled with smoke, I took out the leaf blower to clear the air. That's funny. Yeah, we had fans on high and air filter on high, but it just kept burning all night. And then we woke up in the morning and the house was still filled with smoke. I thought we got the fire out last night, but apparently not. What are you laughing at? You can choose. Click on one.
This one goes for you.
Did you like the Mexican carne asada?
From Carne.
Oh. Yeah, we had some people over last night and we had a carne asada. So we grilled up a bunch of meats and onions, and you made these delicious stuffed peppers with cream cheese and some other things that were awesome. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Mr. Darcy Live says, hi, Jordan. Did you guys happen to Google Audrey Hepburn yet to see the resemblance? Oh, yeah. I mean, like, Mai already knew very well who she was. And yeah, I looked her up and saw pictures of her. And I can see the resemblance, too. David asks, how easy is it for an American to say, move down there over the winter and sell hamburgers and hot dogs on the beach? Who do I contact first to set up? I mean, if you want to start a little business, I would assuming you don't speak Spanish, I would first find a bilingual attorney in the place that you want to go to and get that person's advice. It won't be a ton of money, so you can get set up legally and as fast as possible. Victor asks, hey guys, if you get stopped by the cops, is it typical that a cop asks for a bribe? Would you recommend offering a bribe? I've gotten pulled over many times, and like literally 50 times. Most of the time it was for not having a front license plate, because Arizona doesn't give you a front license plate, and here it's a sign that you've done something wrong or you have unpaid tickets, things like that. And of those 50 times, not once has someone tried to get a bribe. But what's your experience, Mai?
I think it depends. I think it's more common at Mexico City.
And
Honestly,
in the Cancun area.
yeah, honestly, here I've never been through that. So I think I don't know, maybe that might happen here, but it's not common as Mexico City.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, in Mexico City, they have an app that you can like download and see if the police officer that pulled you over actually has the right to stop you, because a lot of them don't. But that's just how common it is there, that they decide to develop an app that people can use. How's the weather over there? Practically perfect. It's really nice out. Current temperature. I'll ask Siri. What's the current temperature, Siri? Come on, don't make me look like an idiot. We're on time crunch here. Nope, doesn't want to listen to me. 25 degrees Celsius, whatever that is in Fahrenheit. I'm guessing about 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, thanks for asking, Rick. Well, why did you not post a video yesterday? Because lately I've felt like I've been rushed to put out a video every week, and because I've been feeling rushed, that the quality of the videos have been suffering. So for a little while, I think we're going to try just posting a video when we have a good video ready and see how that goes. Like, it's a lot easier to get something out every single week, like a good video out every week, if we're doing more traveling, because it's always like new content. You're always going to new places, seeing new things, experiencing new things. So that's easier. But for now, it's just going to be like when a good video is ready. Can you answer this one?
Do you have any bad storms there? Are different places safer weather-wise? Bad storm, not really.
Yeah, no. I mean, so sometimes there's downpours, and some parts of the city get bad flooding. But I mean, in terms of weather, like Queretaro is probably one of the safer places in the country, because there's not really any bad natural disasters. There's no nearby volcanoes. There's no earthquakes really. I mean, yeah, we had a tiny earthquake,
but it's
but
nothing.
I mean, like, the earthquakes don't do any damage, and if there is one, it's rare and you can barely feel it. There's no hurricanes here or tropical storms or anything like that. So weather-wise, this is probably one of the safest places you can be in the country. Samuel asked, do I need a passport to visit Tijuana for 4 hours at most? Honestly, I don't know. I've been told quite a few times by people that they've come to Mexico without a passport, and depending on the crossing that you go to, like, you might not need a passport to get into the country, but going back into the US, well, then without a passport, your life might be a little bit more difficult. But if you're a citizen, they have to let you in, but you might go into like more screening. But like, for example, I was living in Arizona and I wanted to go to this place called Los Algodones to get some dental work done. And there they have a one-way gate going into Mexico. You can only go the one way, you can't come back the other way. But you walk through the gate and you're in Mexico and there's nobody there. Like you can literally just walk in. There was nobody there like asking you for any papers or anything. Like, yeah, so it was as simple as that. But that was probably 6 or 7 years ago now. So that might have changed since then. Eddie asks, is it safe in Quintana Roo? What do you think, Mai?
I don't know much about Quintana Roo, honestly.
So I've lived there a little bit for, well, a little under 2 years. And I was in Puerto Morelos, which is between Cancun and Playa del Carmen. Now, it's a smaller town, and in general, there's a lot less bad stuff that happens in Puerto Morelos than the other cities. But I don't know, for some reason on my phone, I get alerts from the news organization, like the state news of Quintana Roo. I don't know how to turn them off. I don't know how Twitter works. But it seems like almost every day I'm getting some alert about someone was murdered somewhere in the state. So I don't know. There's definitely bad things that happen in Cancun and Playa del Carmen, and Tulum was getting really bad for a little while. Overall, like, would I visit? Yeah. There was a period of time when I'm like, no, I'm done going to Tulum for a little bit until this settles down because there was just too much bad stuff happening there. But yeah, like, keep your wits about you. Like, don't go out and go have a bunch of drinks at a bar and then walk home at night. Things like that. Don't. It's always better to be with someone and not alone. Just general things that you would do for your safety in any major city. Maria asks, are you learning Spanish? Greetings from California. I like your hair, Mai.
Thanks.
Are you learning Spanish?
Sí. I'm a pro now. What about you?
Sí, yo estoy aprendiendo. Okay. Sounds like I just started learning yesterday. Sí, estoy aprendiendo español desde hace unos años. Sí, podemos hablar en español si quieren. Sometimes I get tongue-tied like I did there. Becky says, my friend was arrested in Mexico while on a church mission to help folks. He forgot his handgun was in his glove box. It cost him tens of thousands in bribes and 3 months to get out. Honestly, he's lucky that he got out in 3 months. Like, you do not bring a gun here without a permit. That's like the biggest no-no for this country. I did a video a while back on like 10 things you absolutely should not do in Mexico, and like the gun topic was one of them. Are you going to take Maya to Vegas? Actually, we were just talking about this today.
Yes.
She's like, I heard that Cake Boss has a restaurant there, or did you want the cake vending machine?
I wanted to go to the cake vending machine, and he told me, oh, he has a restaurant because I wanted to try sprinkle cupcakes, and I'm just trying to do it as fast as possible. And he was like, no, maybe you shouldn't, because if you do that, you won't be like excited about going to Vegas because
Like she was talking about trying sprinkles in another place.
I've been refusing to go to Vegas because it's not like the places that I'm most excited to visit. But he told me like, oh, buddy has a restaurant there in Vegas, and I was like, okay, let's do it.
A fun fact, that's actually one of the celebrities that I've seen while in Vegas. I was once in Venetian and I saw a buddy from Cake Boss. Like he was in one of the gondolas, getting a gondola ride through Venetian.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan, so now I want to go to Vegas.
The Art of Will asks, considering that you're in a landlocked city, how's the seafood there? Yeah, Queretaro is actually like almost the geographical center of Mexico. Um, I mean, the seafood isn't as good as if you're on the coast. Like, it just can't be. However, I have found some good seafood restaurants. Dan asks, Puerto Vallarta or Cancun? If you want to like explore a little more of the city, uh, and maybe eat at some local restaurants and have more of an experience outside just the beach resort, I'll say Puerto Vallarta. If you're just going for a resort, Cancun. Do you know anything about this, Mai?
I was actually reading that question.
The question is, my dad's dementia is progressing. Is there a good home or memory care facilities for seniors in Querétaro? Do you think they might have English speaking staff? So I'm trying to read every question because I know a lot of you guys listen to the live streams. So if you don't hear the question, it's confusing when the answers are out of context.
The only thing I know is that there are some doctors or specialists that really like specializes on treating dementia, but I don't know about the specific home facilities or memory care facilities. That's a good question, actually.
It's a big enough city that I'm sure it exists.
Mm-hmm.
And most medical staff here have at least some level of English because they all like have some kind of degree to be able to get that job. So they had to take English classes, right?
I'm starting to think, I think I have a contact from a doctor that is specialized on treating dementia. So maybe he should text us, maybe by WhatsApp or Instagram. And if I absolutely can help you somehow, maybe I can contact this doctor and he can give us more information because I'm not special about that, but I can definitely think that I have that contact. So if you can text us later, I'll definitely be very pleased to help you.
If you two get married, do you have residency in Mexico automatically? So if I were to get married to her, a Mexican citizen, I would be able to qualify for permanent resident. No. I'd be able to qualify for temporary residency without any income requirements. I would not get citizenship. And then after having temporary residency, I could then, after a little while, apply for permanent residency and be able to get that again without any financial requirements. But if we had a kid together, well, then that automatically qualifies me for permanent residency. Okay, I'm going to try to get caught up on comments here so I'm not so far behind. Maria, thanks for the super sticker. Really appreciate that. Tomizi with the $4.99 super chat. Buenos días, Jordan and Mai. Mai, ¿cuál es tu banda favorita de rock en español y tu banda favorita en inglés? Saludos para Queretaro. That's asking,
Queretaro.
Mai, what's your favorite rock band in Spanish, and what's your favorite band in English?
In Spanish, Caifanes. I like Caifanes. What other? I think that's my favorite one, definitely. And in English, I don't think it's considered rock. I'm not sure, but I love Metallica. It's my top overall. I definitely love a lot of rock bands, but I'm a huge fan. One of my biggest dreams is to go to a Metallica concert. They've come like 2 or 3 times, or maybe more.
Are they still
But
performing?
Huh?
Are they still performing
I'm not
on
sure,
tour?
but I would definitely love to go to a Metallica concert once. So yeah, I don't know if it's rock, but I love Metallica absolutely.
Mike asks, what's the best place to go to? Mexico, all inclusive, but not Cancun. Honestly, Mike, I don't know a lot about the all inclusives because I haven't been to a ton of them. But I can tell you that like I do really appreciate the West Coast, although you don't have the really blue water like you have in the Riviera Maya, the Cancun, Playa del Carmen, Tulum area. On the West Coast, you don't get any seaweed. So like having a bunch of seaweed can cause a lot of smells and you not want to go in the water, things like that. So having the lack of seaweed can make a place like Puerto Vallarta pretty nice. Marco says you look different with your hair like this.
Thanks. I don't know if it's good or bad, but I want to say thanks.
Here's another comment on your hair.
Thanks. I feel more comfortable actually. I just got it on an emotional crisis. Most women know what I'm talking about. And I was feeling super stressed because if I was like, oh, my hair is so short. And I was bothering him like for 4 months or something like, I don't feel comfortable with my hair. But then I just took the risk to do this and I'm absolutely loving it. I'm super comfortable actually.
Pat says, in my opinion, look at Xcaret for all inclusive. Yeah, I mean, I hear great things about Xcaret if you can afford it. It ain't cheap.
Mhm.
It's an expensive place, but people say it's awesome. And Bonnie says, I just got to hear Guns N' Roses in the jungle just outside Merida.
Yeah, Guns N' Roses was on tour.
Have you set a date yet?
For what?
People say that when they're asking about wedding. No, not
No.
yet. Walligator says, I moved to Arizona from Nebraska as a teen. Mexican girls are the best. Yes.
My eye.
Your eye. Oh, did I hit your eye?
Yes.
Sorry. Jordan, now you have an idea for Mai's birthday or anniversary gift.
Birthday gift. He gave me the most amazing birthday gifts. Absolutely.
I got her socks and she was obsessed with them.
Ay, sí, mis calcetines de pollo. That was the best gift ever.
Gav Patrick says, come get married in the Scottish Highlands. Beautiful place. Haven't been there, but I'd love to go.
Me too.
Querétaro is still cool, but you can tell it's still underworld status. Go to Costco and see a lady with a team of Guarda Espaldar.
The convoy of trucks.
I mean, I've never seen that at Costco.
No, I've seen that in Antea.
Oh,
I told you actually, but not at Costco.
but I mean, like the closest I've ever seen to anything like this is we were eating at Anteo once, and we didn't realize it like while we were eating, but the table next to us, they had 4 bodyguards standing like maybe 30 to 50 meters away each, like, yeah, surrounding the restaurant. I don't know who those people were, but
we don't want to know.
but when you see something like that, it's probably like a CEO or a governor or someone in a powerful position. Felipe asks, how's your dog doing? Well, you guys don't know, she had surgery earlier this year on her knee. She tore basically the equivalent of the ACL. And the recovery was slow. She's doing better now, but she's still definitely not 100%. Maybe she's 90%, but now that it's getting a little bit colder, I think I can tell that the cold weather is putting her in a little bit more pain. So I feel like, I don't know, maybe I need to get a heater on in here for her. William joining us from Hermosillo, or as I pronounce that first coming to Mexico, Hermosillo.
Huimilpan.
Yeah, there's a place nearby called Huimilpan, and when I have Waze in English, it calls it like Huimilpan. How old is Laska? She'll be 13 in 2 months. The day after Christmas, she turns 13. Laura asked, does Laska take CBD? Yeah, actually, after I started giving her CBD, she improved a lot. Like her recovery was going pretty slowly, but then I noticed an almost immediate improvement when I started giving her a drop of CBD every day. But this was a CBD that was specially formulated for dogs. So it's not one that you go buy in the stores for humans. Can you answer Kathy's question? If you had to move somewhere else in Mexico, where would you go and why that city?
I don't know. I love Merida, definitely.
I couldn't live there in the summer.
But I hate the weather. Super warm. Like even in winter, it's super warm. So I don't like that extreme temperature.
It's really hot and it's humid. But
Guanajuato is not an option. Michoacan is not an option. I don't know. Maybe
because of it's more dangerous now.
It's more dangerous. Not Mexico City. Monterrey. I love Monterrey, but it's very extreme. Like it's very extreme weather. So
like getting very hot or very cold.
Yeah, exactly. But in a very insane way. So
okay.
I really love Monterrey, but I definitely don't know if I will live there. So I have a concern about. I mean, the cities I know. I love them, but the weather. Maybe
I love them, but danger, or I love
them, but something. I don't know. For example, I've never been in Baja California. Maybe I don't know. I'm not sure about because of the hurricanes and things like that. So I'm very used to Queretaro. I've never considered to go anywhere else. Maybe that you've been in several cities and you have a different opinion, but under my perspective, all of them have a but something.
If I had to move somewhere else, it would be for like 6 months of the year. It'd be for the coldest 6 months in Queretaro, and I would go like to Puerto Morelos in Quintana Roo, or maybe Bacalar, or maybe Puerto Vallarta, maybe some other places. I still need to explore. Well, we still need to explore like Baja California, like go to the wine country there, and like Ensenada area. The place is pretty close to San Diego, because that's like the place in Mexico where you can have nice weather year round and be on the beach. Jacqueline, thanks for the super chat.
That's
Really
okay.
appreciate that. She asks, how's the new place? You want to answer this?
It's nice. I actually like it. It's for me when I moved here, it was kind of weird to get used to it. But now I love that we can have beautiful sunsets and the view. It's amazing. There's no noise at night. So there are so many things that I actually love about this house, especially his company.
Pleasant Bulldog asks, Jordan, how much were you paying for your last rental in US dollars? Are you paying more now in a gated community? So I was paying about $1,700 a month, and no, we're paying less now. That was in a gated community, and we're still in one. But yeah, this place is a bit smaller and it's cheaper. But I'm going to link the home tour I did of that place where I was living in case you haven't seen it, so you can go watch that one. We don't have a home tour of this home yet, but maybe we'll do one sometime. Do you know anything about a water crisis in Monterrey?
Uy, see, it's horrible. They seriously don't have water.
Like
Yeah,
how bad
like-
is it? Like, are they limited on what
Super
days
bad.
they can?
Super bad. They don't have water. At least when I went to Monterrey, that was what, June, something.
Yeah.
When you went to Vegas, and I have a friend there, and we actually had to take some packages of water bottles to him and garrafones.
Really?
Because
Wow.
crisis is super super bad. People were like having serious problems to have waters even at the convenience stores and supermarkets, and it was super like the opposite of cheap, expensive. Yeah, I don't know how is it, but I don't think it's getting better. So they don't have water to wash their clothes or anything.
Thanks for joining us, Laska. Okay, now you can ask Laska questions too, since she's here. Okay, I'm going to try to get caught up on comments here. Monterrey Living says, we have water now,
Cool.
but we are not more conscious on our water usage.
Mm.
And Alejandro Escalera, thanks for the 20 peso super chat. Appreciate that. I know at least you were living in Monterrey. Water crisis is kind of under control now. No more cuts. Well, that's good at least that it's kind of under control.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Monterrey gets any of its water from Lake Mead,
I don't know.
or from, because I know it's far away from Lake Mead, but because that's northern Nevada. But I know there's like some river where parts of Mexico gets water from in the US. And I heard something about how, like, since they're running low there, they're not going to be sending any more to Mexico. But I'm not sure which parts of the country are affected by that.
Hmm.
Trini with the $5 super chat.
Mai, have you ever thought about going 10% vegan? What are your thoughts of mostly women all going all vegan? Do you or you know people who are vegan?
I know people who are vegan.
I've never considered doing that. Uh, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I know is that we shouldn't like tag any kind of food as really bad. I mean, we should have like a balanced diet. And I perfectly know the benefits and the not good things about eating meat. And the same with any other food kind of food. So honestly, I don't think I could do that. Maybe vegetarian, but vegan, I don't think so. And why a lot of people are, why a lot of women are
Oh,
becoming
careful, Alaska.
vegan? Well, the only thing I know about my friends or my closest friend is that they feel with more energy, or I don't know, maybe that things. But for example, when I uh, when I stop eating like a lot of carbs and things like that, I feel with more energy as well. And I've never quit like 100% of eating like meat. So I honestly, well, I respect that, but I don't think it's my thing.
Yeah, I consider vegetarian, but I don't want to take cheese out of my diet completely. I don't want to take eggs out of my diet completely.
Mhm. So vegetarian is cool. I mean, I could definitely stop eating some kind of like beef or something like that. I don't eat pork much, for example, but exactly like I cannot see myself without cheese or without so many things. So I prefer to eat healthy and work out and have a balanced diet. But vegan, I don't think so.
David, I see you have a comment here with no comment, but you might have left stars on Facebook. If you did, thank you very much. We really appreciate that. Unfortunately, our software doesn't allow us to see when people send stars, but I know that sometimes when it shows up as a blank comment, that's what's going on. Gas has gone up. Why? Well, here it hasn't really. Like, maybe a little bit, but not nearly as much as most other things. Uh, but Mexico produces its own oil, so Mexico isn't subject to the world markets of the oil prices. Um, and it's one of the major sources of revenue for the Mexican government. So basically, the whole 5 years I've lived here, it's been about $4 a gallon. So when I came here, it was significantly more expensive than it was in the United States, and now it's significantly cheaper. Here's a question for you.
What American boy or girl celebrity would you like to meet? Gordon Ramsay.
He has restaurants in Vegas.
I know. I'm a huge fan of Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, maybe him. That would be great. Or any of the famous pastry chefs or things like that. I love that.
Wally says Pemex is the only gas station in the whole country. This has actually changed. I think that was the case when I first came to Mexico, but now actually Pemex is probably a minority because, well, how did that happen? How did did they give up their monopoly, or what happened with that?
Yeah, and they just opened the chance to other companies to come and sell gas.
So yeah, I mean, now there's lots of different gas stations. You have Shell and Chevron and basically all the big gas stations you have in the US. Plus, there's a bunch of Mexican brands as well.
Gordon Ramsay is British. That's true. Okay, maybe I should reconsider. Body Balastro. Before they kill me for saying that Gordon Ramsay is American. So sorry. Don't kill me.
Alex says, you have access to health insurance? Mai has private health insurance here. She pays the equivalent of about $600 US a year. And I don't have one yet, but I would like to get something like what she has in case of an emergency. Gordon Ramsay's British. Of course. Like, I didn't like think about that immediately, but of course he has an accent.
Yeah, me too. It's like, yeah, it's so obvious, but it's the first person that came to my mind. And he has a lot of restaurants in the US.
David says, I just got back to Florida after spending 31 days in Queretaro. It was my second trip this year. Honestly, the food was hit or miss. Some places were great, but others were so-so. Can you give your honest reaction to this? I mean, yeah, I more or less agree. Like, there's a lot of restaurants where I'm like, I don't need to go back there.
Mm-hmm.
But
we're always trying new restaurants, and most of them are this is a definitely, and some other is like, it was good trying, but
as we try more and more places, we're finding a lot of really good food around the city. But it takes some experimentation. Mario asks, how did you get Laska? Her story. Okay, so I was at the time, like almost 13 years ago now, I was living with I don't get mad. I was living with my ex and her friend. The ex that you don't know. So my best friend.
I don't know her. I'm worse than the API.
And both of them wanted a dog, and I didn't want a dog. And but they really, really wanted a dog. I'm like, no, I mean, I've had cats before, but I don't want a dog because they're a lot of work. It's harder to travel with them. Like, you have to pick up their poop every single day, and you have to take them for walks. I'm like, I don't know if I'm prepared for that much work. But like, they kept pushing it, and I'm like, all right. I've thought for a long time, if I were to ever get a dog, it would be a husky. So I'll get a dog with you guys if it's a husky. And they're like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So then they went out looking for a dog, those two. And one day, I think I was working or something. They're like, we found the dog we're going to get. You have to come see her later. So we went and saw her. She was 6 weeks old, just like this big. She was tiny, a little white fluff ball. And she was born into a Mexican family in Phoenix. And she was the last one of the litter. She was the one that nobody else wanted, the only one left. But she was so sweet, and her parents were there. She didn't have any papers. She's not like AKC certified or anything, but both of her parents looked like Siberian Huskies. And I thought she was going to be a white husky. I thought she was going to grow up to be completely white, but yeah, she ended up getting some color later. Yeah, she was a lot of fun, but just be aware if you're ever wanting to get a husky, they need a lot of exercise, and I mean a lot. You better be prepared to exercise them for like an hour every day for the next 10 years of your life. And if they're not very well exercised, they are very destructive. And before I learned this, Alaska had ruined a lot of things. And like she would only ever ruin one shoe, but then we put the other shoe back and like hoping that next time she goes to destroy a shoe that she would choose one from a pair that she'd already destroyed. But no, she always had to pick one from a new pair of shoes. But yeah, a few weeks after we got her, my friend was like, why didn't you tell me it was going to be so much work? Like, no, you two have her. Like, I don't need any money. Like, it's fine. But I cannot do all this work to stick with her. So then she became like mine and my exes, and then like we ended up breaking up later, and then Alaska was my dog after that. So that's the story of Alaska. Oh, here's a comment about the gas stations. Pemex still supplies the gas for the service stations, but other companies are allowed to sell it. What was Mai's reaction to Alaska story? I didn't see it. Are we Uber eating tonight, Paris asked. No, we already had dinner. Mario says, thank you. So your dog is already Mexican. Yep, born into a Mexican family, so it was only fair to like bring her back to her roots. My friend wouldn't exercise their husky and he chewed on everything. They are a breed to pull sleds. They need exercise. They need a lot of exercise. Like Alaska, now that she's almost 13 years old, she doesn't need a lot of exercise anymore. But my goodness, for a long time there, I was like, is she ever going to have less energy? Because even when she was 10 years old, she still had so much energy. Here's a question for you. I don't know what this means.
It's because
I don't know what Los Charlos or
Chairos.
AMLO.
No, it's because when Andrés Manuel López Obrador became president, people who support him started to be called AMLovers.
Oh, okay, I get it.
And Chairos and AMLovers are like kind of similar, but it's like it's a way to call people that because unfortunately population got divided, so the Chairos are the one who support Andrés Manuel López Obrador as soon as I remember. And yeah, what's going to happen or what's happening, well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't want to talk about politics. I just wanted to explain you that. But I
didn't know that was talking politics.
Yeah.
When I clicked on it.
It's okay.
Saru Maru, thanks for the super chat. Nice to see you two live again. Mai, did you hear the new Blackpink songs?
I like it.
I was surprised to hear it in the radio here in Mexico City. Love you guys.
Yeah.
What's Blackpink? Is that
K-pop band?
Oh,
my favorite K-pop band.
Okay.
I'm always listening to K-pop while we're in the car, and you never know anything about it. But that's cool. I'm always dancing.
A question. I'm Queretaro born. Does that make my American wife automatically a resident? Not automatically, but she can get it. She can get residency without any financial qualifications, but she still has to like fill out paperwork and go to the immigration office, things like that. Natalia says, Maya is so relaxed and calm. She was beautiful. How is her ankle? So she was having foot problems, and her had a surgery scheduled for November 5th, 4th, November 4th. But then a subscriber was like, hey, I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I'm coming to San Miguel de Allende. I'd like to look at your foot to make sure that I think you need the surgery. So basically, when him and his wife came here, we went to San Miguel to see them. And after seeing her, he's like, honestly, I think I can treat you with conservative treatment, with new shoes, with custom orthotics that are made with a different technology there. And so, like, she was going through a phase for a while where she was in a lot of pain every single day. But want to talk about how your pain has been lately?
It's not completely healed. Definitely, the position of my foot still the same because that's not going to change until I get the orthotics. Um, I think I've been controlling pain because I used to walk without shoes inside of the house, and right now I cannot do it. So, well, I don't do it, and I'm wearing a very specific kind of shoes. I still have pain some days, but I don't know. In a scale from 1 to 10, maybe it's like a 3,
It's
and
better than it was.
it's
That's
better
for
than it
sure.
was. It was in the past. It was like an 8 or like a 7, and right now it's like a half of what it used to be. And when I'm just lying or not doing much, it definitely got lower. So I definitely
Okay.
can think I'm improving on about
Uh-huh.
that. But I haven't been doing impact. I haven't
Yeah.
done so many things. So definitely that's not the life I want. I want the
Yeah.
normal life, but I stay positive because I've been feeling better, and it's
So
just like 2 or 3 times that I have to take medication like painkiller, but not anymore like more things about that.
so it's
So
we've definitely seen an improvement, but you're not living a normal life, and we're putting off the surgery for now and trying to go with more conservative treatment because after talking to him and some another surgeon, like we learned more about the surgery and that it's more like a year recovery time instead of like the initial 3 months that we were thinking. So it'd be good to avoid surgery if possible. But yeah, we're gonna try to get some new shoes, new orthotics.
and a new MRI. I'm going to have a new MRI. So the last MRI was not clear at all.
Yeah,
So this new MRI is going to show us what's really happening with my foot. So I'm going to get a new MRI. I'm going to get a shoe treatment, therapy, new orthotics,
and that's happening in a
and
few days. We're
yeah.
we're going in a couple of days to the U.S. To this surgeon's office
Yeah,
there.
so they've told me this is your last chance. So if I don't get better with the orthotics and whatever it needs to be done, I'll definitely need the surgery. I hope it's not necessary, at least not now, because that was one of my concerns. We are definitely trying to travel more. I'm trying to modify my schedule. I'm trying to modify my work because right now it's a full-time job, and that doesn't allow us to make a lot of things, and weekends sometimes are not enough to record like a good quality material. So we were trying to figure out how to like balance that, being able to give you good material and travel more, but also without the risk of ending in a surgery or getting worse. So we're hoping that the surgery is not necessary, so we can like make this channel keep rolling with more of the things that everybody loves, that it's like traveling and food and discovering new places. I would love to do that, but we haven't been able to do it because of my situation. So that's basically that.
Alex asked, "What happened to my ankle again? Just got here." It's actually your foot, and it started about 4 years ago, and over the course of time, it just got worse and worse.
I have a condition which is called the adult's flat foot. So one of my ligaments is not working properly. It's not giving the support of my to my arch. So my foot started collapsing and going like to the middle part of my body. And when I used to walk, I used to have a lot of pain at the internal part of my foot. So it was horrible because it was like half an hour walking and I was having like pain around 8 out of 10, and it was super like
Really painful,
really
like all the
painful.
time.
And
Even when you're sleeping and doing nothing, you were still in a lot of pain.
yeah, and he was like, okay, we were just walking a little bit, and after that at home he was applying ice on me, and
Yeah.
it was a lot of work, but I really wasn't having a good time. So basically, it's that I didn't have any injury. I don't know what happened with my ligament. Just maybe it's something like I was born that way. But yeah, we're trying to figure out what's my best kind of treatment so I could improve without needing the surgery. Mm.
Lisa asks, is the GoFundMe page still active and taking donations? So I started that like back when a while ago. We told you that Mai was planning a surgery and talking about the cost of it and everything. And some of you in the live stream suggested, hey, start a GoFundMe because I'd contribute. And I talked to Mai about that, and she's like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. Like that's not how I was raised. So I didn't listen to her, and I started one for her. But yeah, after we met this surgeon from the U.S., and he's like, I think we can do it without surgery. I deactivated the ability to give donations until we learn more. So
Yeah, because we still don't know if the surgery has to be done or not. We are hoping not. But right now, until we don't have the MRI, the new MRI, we won't certainly know if I need a surgery or not. So right now, I could tell you it's like 50% possible that I need it, 50% that I don't. So until I get the new MRI, I'm going to know like where the balance goes to. I'm hoping I don't need it, but that a donation are definitely helping me because everything is so expensive, especially going to the US. So it's like three times the cost here or something like that.
Yeah, so although
And
we're
we are saving obviously that money because in case that the surgery needs to be done, the price might get higher next year.
yeah, so some of that money is going to go towards this trip, and like um, the surgeon is doing everything at his cost, but it still costs money to get there, and then he doesn't do the MRI himself, so that's $400, plus the cost of the orthotics are going to be like 170. So there's still some cost to it. Stainless Steely Dan says, Jordan, how can Merida be too hot for you? You are from Arizona. Please explain. Merida feels hotter than Arizona. Arizona is hot in the summer, but it's a dry heat. In Merida, it's hot and humid. Like it's temperatures north of 100 degrees Fahrenheit, plus really humid. So yeah, it's really the humidity that I'm not used to. Michael asks, which city in Mexico do you think is the safest? What do you think?
Merida. Queretaro is kind of safe. Merida, I think it's the first place. But
I've learned some more things about bad stuff happening in Queretaro, and
yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, at this point, I'd probably say Merida as well. Bonnie says Merida feels like hell, if you could imagine. Yeah, if you're used to like Texas weather, like the parts of Texas where it's really hot and humid, or like parts of Florida where it's really hot and humid. It's similar to that. It's going to be a bit hotter in Merida. And also Merida isn't on the coast, so you don't get the coastal breeze.
Valle de Bravo.
Don't they?
I think that Joe Herrera
Oh.
says that I think the second best place to live in Mexico is Valle de Bravo, second Queretaro. I was actually thinking on Valle de Bravo. I've never been there. I would love to.
I've never been
But
either.
people say that it's really, really nice. We should go there someday.
Alex asked, does it ever get cold in Mexico? Yeah. I mean, a lot of people who vacation in Mexico have this idea that it's hot everywhere in the country, but that's really not the case. Yeah, most coastal cities are pretty hot, especially in the summer, and in the winter, I would consider coastal cities to be like a nice temperature, but still hot. But most of the country is above 5,000 feet in elevation. So if you're pretty much anywhere except the coast, it's going to be much cooler there. So like where we live in Queretaro, in the summer, you're looking at highs around 80 to 85 Fahrenheit. In the winter, you're looking at highs in the 50s to 60s, something like that. But there's places that get a lot colder than this. Mexico City is at higher elevation, so that's colder than here. Toluca is at higher elevation than Mexico City, so that's going to be even colder. Maria with the $20 super chat. Thanks so much. And also thanks for being a channel member.
Thanks.
Happy Sunday, Jordan and Mai. Mai, you look fabulous with your new extensions.
Thanks.
They were a birthday present for her.
Part of my birthday present.
What are you laughing at?
About your mañanitas. You singing mañanitas to me.
Do you want to tell that story or no?
Yes, it was amazing. We were watching a movie, and it was one day before my birthday. And I remember that he was saying that, do you want to watch a movie? And I was like, okay. But I started to feel super tired, and it was around 10 p.m. or something like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to the bedroom. And I was just like looking at my phone, waiting for him. And I was like, oh, he's not coming. And he delayed it more than usual. So I was like, okay, I'm going to turn off my cell phone and I'm going to just fall asleep. And I just turned off my phone, and the whole room was super dark. And I just started listening slowly the Mañanita song, like from the outside. And I was like, what's happening?
By the way, this is a song you sing for someone's
Happy
birthday.
Yeah, so he entered and he started singing Las Mañanitas to me, but it was around 10:30 at night or something like that. And it was hilarious. I couldn't stop like laughing, but it was super sweet. I love it. And at the end, you had a karaoke video, and he was like giving the whole thing like
I had a YouTube video playing with the lyrics and Angela Aguilar singing.
Yeah, and he was. What do you say? Something like, "Thanks to Angela Aguilar for."
No, I said at the end it's a dale like y suscríbete.
Dale like y suscríbete, but I didn't.
So after the song, I'm like, dale like y suscríbete.
Yeah, and I was recording. I was going to post it on Instagram, but I didn't do it because I knew that was going to be okay. But
and then I was like, gracias a mi compañera.
Gracias a mi compañera Ángela Aguilar and things like that. And it was amazing and he was super cute because he was saying like, oh, I was expecting that you could stay awake until midnight, but I saw that you were going so tired, so I want to be the first person to sing you mañanitas, and that was amazing. Oh my gosh, so sweet.
Small Pup Mom says MRI in California is about $2,000, so $400 is pretty cheap. Yeah, the surgeon called around trying to get the best cash price he could, So I wouldn't have to spend a fortune on an MRI there. So really appreciative for that. Chris says or asked, has the massive gang violence in Playa del Carmen slowed to just ridiculous gang violence? Honestly, Chris, I'm way out of the loop there when it comes to news. I I do get news alerts from the state news of Quintana Roo from Twitter on my phone for some reason, and it seems like every day I'm getting some alert about a murder that has happened in the area, whether Playa del Carmen or Cancun or somewhere else and around there. But other than that, I just don't know. And for Playa del Carmen, I don't know specifically. Wally Gator asked Jordan, will our investments start doing better after the midterm elections? Assuming you're invested in the US stock market, look, I can't tell the future, but the way I see the situation is that as long as the Federal Reserve continues hiking rates to try to fight inflation, the overall stock market is probably going to go down. Everyone thinks they're going to be able to fight inflation, but honestly, I don't think so, because I think at some point something's going to break, like what just happened in the UK with their pension program. Basically, with the UK, they had rates really low, interest rates really low for a long time. So the pension plans, the pension programs there, they were not legally allowed to tell their pensioners that, hey, you have to contribute more, or hey, we have to reduce your benefits. So like that was illegal for them to do. So what they had to do was they had to take on more risk. They had to take out loans, like they were borrowing short and basically lending long. So they were taking out short-term loans and getting interest rates for longer-term debt, which allowed them to capture a gain on that spread, but it added a tremendous amount of risk to these pension plans. And one day, just like a week or two ago, they're like, hey, our pension is about to blow up. And then the UK government was like, okay, we're not going to keep doing what we were doing. And I think something like that's going to happen in the US. Not, I don't know if it's going to be pension plans or one of a million other things. It could be like, there could be any trigger. But yeah, I think as long as the Fed, it keeps raising rates, stocks will probably be trending in a lower direction, because as you raise rates, you're not only raising the cost of capital for all these companies, so their cost of debt is getting more expensive, which lowers earnings, but also investors are now having another option, and they have competing that, like that capital for investors is competing, like they can either invest in stocks or bonds, and now some bonds are paying a decent rate, like the 10-year treasury or even the 1 year is up at something like 4%. So now that you can earn 4% on your money, that's taking some of the money out of stocks into bonds. And the more that rates go up, the more money that goes into bonds. So, but I think at some point something's going to break and the Federal Reserve is going to reverse course. And I think at that point, things will start going up again, but then so will inflation. It's a tough position. Like, and I could literally talk about this all day long, but I don't know how many people here are interested in me talking about finance and stocks and bonds and stuff. Zilla says, stay away from those bonds because that 4% won't outpace inflation. for anyone to be buying a 30-year treasury right now, paying 4%, I think is crazy. I think that's crazy. In fact, I don't think 30 years are even at 4%. I think it's closer to 3, but they're changing a lot from day to day. But yeah, I think that's crazy because I think your money is just, the value of that principal is just going to get destroyed over time. But I think there's a strong argument for keeping some liquidity in case of like some market crash. And if you can get that 4% in a 1 year, well, then I think that could make sense. Just like to have some cash on the sidelines. But yeah, for a 30-year or even a 10-year, that's nothing I would do. How has your foot affected your work?
Uh, well, it hasn't affected much my work because like 80% of people that I work with have foot and ankle injuries. So I have to work like sitting on in a chair or something, and I don't have to be standing much. I don't have to move people. I don't have to do like so many of that heavy stuff or hard work. Sometimes it's hard because there was one point that obviously I have to show people how to make their exercises, and that gives me a lot of pain. So at the time of the consultation or my appointment was no big deal, but at the end of the day I was having a lot of pain. So it was like I wasn't able to do much stuff, but like out of my work, not right there. I didn't had any like I. It's not that I had less clients or anything like that. All my clients were like very supportive, and they were like knowing that I was struggling with some uh, foot and ankle troubles. So they were like, okay, you better like sit down and just send us some kind of videos or like additional material to WhatsApp or whatever, so they can like watch it instead of me showing to them because they knew that could hurt me. But that was the only thing that basically changed on my everyday work.
Yeah, and I mean, like you have some other stuff going on that affects your work probably more than your foot does. But I have some people saying they actually like the finance talk. Okay, well, thanks for sharing. I appreciate the input. So it says, I invest in gold and silver, mostly silver. I'm actually surprised they haven't moved a lot more with this inflation. Like generally, like when there's more inflation, people are like, okay, I need something to protect my money from like it being eaten away by inflation, and then prices of those metals go up. But I think the markets are so convinced that the Fed is going to be able to fight inflation that anytime we get a worse inflation statistic in the US, the prices of gold and silver go down, which it should be the opposite. Because their thinking is, okay, worse inflation statistic means the Fed is going to be more aggressive hiking rates. So therefore the value of the dollar is going to go up, and we sell gold and silver. That's the algorithms that these traders have. Basically, they see a high inflation print, they're like, okay, sell gold, sell silver. But I think there's going to come a day before too long where they're like, oh crap, I don't think the Fed can fight inflation without destroying the economy. Jordan, what platform do you use to buy stock? Mostly Charles Schwab and Interactive Brokers. Robinhood scares me. Jordan, are you a financial advisor or do you dabble with stock market as a side hobby? Basically all my free time is spent researching stuff to do with stocks and companies and economies. So, like that's kind of what I'm passionate about. I I'm not uh, FINRA. I'm not FINRA licensed or anything like that. But yeah, it's a topic I know a lot about. Zilla says gold and silver is based off the spot price, which is a paper price, not the physical price. So it's robbery from get go. Uh, yeah, I mean it's all in the paper market. Like the how it's priced has nothing to do with like what the actual metal trades for. It's kind of crazy. Like you'll have 100 times like what's mined an entire year. You'll have 100 times that traded in a single day to determine this price in the futures market. Brian says stick with interactive brokers. Interactive brokers is great. It's not a platform for beginners though. Like I mean, yeah, a beginner could figure it out, but I mean, especially if you're trading in international markets and you have to convert your currency on there, like even me when I have a pretty good idea of what I'm doing, like I don't know how these trading screens work like interactive brokers has, and like I was trying to convert some dollars into another currency, I think into British pounds, and I accidentally placed an order for like 25,000 pounds when I didn't even have that much money in my account. So just because I don't know how these trading screens work, so it's something you have to be careful with. Uh, Angel or Angel asks, are you able to get a loan easy for a house? In Mexico, no. No. I don't have any credit history here. So, like most of the foreigners who are buying a home here are paying cash. Like Mai could get a loan for a house here up to a certain amount because she has a credit history and has good credit here, but not me. And the interest rates are pretty high. So, like I just saw at one bank here, there you could get a CD that pays a 1 year CD that pays almost 11% on your money, and like the Bank of Mexico's like baseline interest rate right now is 9 or 9.5%. So, uh, yeah, interest rates on a house for like a 15-year or 30-year mortgage, I imagine are going to be pretty darn high. I don't know what, but 15, 18%. I don't know. I'm just basing that on the baseline interest rate or the rate for a 1 year CD here. Wallygator asked, does Mexico use the FICO score? They have a credit bureau, but I don't think they use FICO. I'm not super knowledgeable about it. I just know that they have a different credit system here, and like even if you have credit in the US, you don't have any credit here. Like for example, I went to Telcel to get a plan, and to get a plan at Telcel, they have to run a credit check. And I wasn't able to get the Telcel plan that I wanted, my phone plan, because I didn't have a credit history here. So they're like, sorry, we can't give you this plan where you can use as much data as you want because you don't have a credit history. So you have to pay a little bit more and be on a fixed plan where you can never go above that amount of data. Are you getting bored? Are you getting bored?
Was not my stuff, so I want to put out of the freezer. Fast food.
Okay. A food for the atzelado. When you met Mai, you hit the lottery without buying a ticket. It's pretty great that you can do that. They say you can't win if you don't play. Well, guess what? I won without playing. What's the equivalent of a social security number in Mexico? I think that would be your CURP. Well, like your CURP is what's given to you by immigration, like identifying you as a human. I don't know. But then there's another number that you can get from the Mexican tax authority. Oh yeah, other people are saying CURP. Yeah, like the Mexican tax authority gives you an RFC. So I didn't know if that would be closer to a social security number or CURP, but I think the CURP is. Eddie, I asked, Jordan, do you know if banks have a secured credit card or something similar to get your credit started there? I don't know about secured cards, but I, for example, could get a credit card with like the department store Liverpool to start getting a little bit of building up a little bit of credit here. And they'd probably approve me at a very low limit. So I don't know, maybe the limit might be 1,000 pesos a month or $50 or something. But do you know anything about if there's secured credit cards? So like this is, let's say someone doesn't have a credit history or they have bad credit with the credit bureau, but they want to get a credit card. In the US, there's something where you can have a secured card where, like, let's say you put a $500 deposit down with the bank and they give you a $500 credit limit, but they keep that $500 deposit until over time you show them that, hey, you can pay your bill every month. You aren't paying late. And then maybe eventually you can turn that secured credit card into a regular credit card that doesn't have that deposit requirement.
I don't know, honestly.
Yeah, Monterey Living says CURP is equivalent to as a social security number in the US, and an RFC, like federal taxpayer number, which is independent, is only for tax purposes. And it's a bit different in the US because your social security number in the US is both your tax identification number and like how you identify yourself on government forms and things like that. So it works a little bit differently. As I understand, Mexico does not have great laws protecting the lender, and lawsuits take years. Thus, not many wish to lend, and when they do, interest is high. I don't know anything about laws protecting the lender or lawsuits, really. However, I can tell you that I wanted to get the credit card from Costco here. I can't because I'm not a permanent resident. You have to be a permanent resident or a citizen to get it. But like at Costco, they have the interest rate listed and it's something like 68% annually. So yeah, if you get a credit card here, make sure you're paying off the full balance every month, or at least whatever balance you need to pay to not be charged interest. Well, I'm kind of tired tonight, so do you mind if we end it? All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining, for asking questions and everything. Really appreciate that. And thank you to the moderators for helping to keep the chat clean and all of that. And big thanks to all you channel members and everyone who sent super chats. And we will see you guys later.